Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tuplex. As you can see here, I'm loading up this second train car with landfill. I'd like to use that to set up the nuclear power area, and I'll explain why here shortly. This stone looks like there's a yellow belt somewhere. Aha. Alright. Let me fix that real quick. Alright, so I've been letting the nuclear reactor parts continue building. And they are pretty much ready. So I'd like to start setting up the reactor. And I've been thinking of where to put it, and I think that since we have the uranium processing over here, we might as well put the reactors to the north of that. I want to put it close to water, and that's the reason I want the landfill, is because I'd like to use the landfill to make a straight shoreline that runs east to west. As you can see on this blueprint, we need a offshore pump at the end. You can see those on the right side of this blueprint. When we install it up there, it'll be on the top here. And so as we expand this, each additional set of heat exchangers is going to need its own offshore pump. And so the reason to have a nice straight shoreline is because it'll make it easier to hook up all the water. We can basically put down the blueprint right against the shoreline, and the pumps will go into the water, and it'll make it nice and easy to expand later on. So that's what I want the landfill for, so that we can go up here to the northernmost point, which looks like it's right about here, and then we'll just start going back and forth, and we'll fill in the shoreline and make a nice straight line. We probably don't need to go all the way across. We'll just need to go far enough to, to give ourselves enough room to plop this stuff down. All right, so I am going to first, let's get rid of that robot. I'm going to go ahead and grab this stuff. Okay, that didn't take up too much room in my inventory, thankfully. I am going to need 2 offshore pumps. I might need some pipes. So let's grab some more pipe as well, just to make sure we're covered there. I'll just get 1 stack of each. And everything else I need, I think I'm all set with. So let's hop in the train and we'll head over to the uranium area, and then we'll walk up from there. And then, of course, we'll have to hook everything up to our main power grid using some power poles, but that's not a big deal. All right, yeah, that line of stone looks much better now, since I had that one yellow underground that was slowing the whole thing down. Taking a look at our map, I can see another few alien bases, so we'll go and take care of those before too long as well. But so far I haven't seen any other attacks coming in, so looks like we gave ourselves some more time. At some point we might need to start building a wall with turrets around it to give ourselves more protection, but so far the attacks have been so few and far between that I don't really see any need to do that. Alright, so let me set up a couple chests here, and let's get rid of everything that we don't think we're going to need. We're not going to need any of that stuff. That way we'll have plenty of room for landfill. Engines we don't need. We don't need gun turrets. I don't think we need artillery turrets. Actually, I should probably keep my ammo. Okay, that's good. And then we'll fill up the rest of our inventory with landfill. And then we'll pick that stuff up again when we come back. Okay. Yeah, and I think the reason I wanted to make this shoreline horizontal is just because that's the longest dimension that we have here on this body of water. So I think that should work. So let's go ahead and grab some landfill, and we'll establish our shoreline. That's probably far enough for now, to be honest. So let's go ahead and fill that in. Oh man, now I've done it. You have to be careful with this stuff because if you go too far, there's no way to get rid of it. At least not without a mod. So carelessness can ruin the whole thing. And we have to make sure we cover everything thoroughly. With the new patch, with version 0.16, it's possible to have, yeah, see right here? There's actually water there, and you can't see it, but if you try to put something on top of it, you can't. And it's just one tile of water, but they made the edges extend beyond the tile, and it makes it very hard to see. So if you ever run into a problem like that, where you can't place something on a particular tile and you can't figure out why, try putting some landfill there, and that will probably fix it for you. Okay, so that looks good. Let's get rid of all the trees in the area. Yeah, see, now I kind of wish I had brought my grenades with me. That's all right. Fortunately, the bots are fairly quick now. Let's get rid of these up here as well. Okay. And then we'll take our blueprint. Actually, let's get the full blueprint so that we can try to center this. All right. Yeah, so it's going to go about there. Right, so the reactor is just to the right of that light colored water there. That's how we'll remember where to align this. Let's get back to the 2 reactor version. Yeah, there we go. All right. Yep, so a reactor goes there, and then we just walk this down. And there we go. And the bots ought to do the rest. Perfect. Done. And we finished Kovorix enrichment just in time. The other one that we're going to need is nuclear fuel processing, or reprocessing rather. That's where you take the spent fuel cells and you convert them back into uranium. So let's go ahead and get that researched as well. Okay, so we have 2 reactors. I like to start with 2 just because that allows us to get a neighbor bonus right from the very beginning, which is good to have. All right, now the next thing we'll need to do is hook this up to our main power grid, and we can do that quite easily by just hooking up a power pole. So we'll just hook it up there, and we'll walk this back and hook it up over by our train station. There we go. Right, so now we can see the steam turbines are on the network. They're not producing anything yet because we don't have fuel, but we'll fix that shortly. Speaking of fuel, we need to take a look and see where the fuel gets inserted. So let's look at the full blueprint so we can, so we can see how that goes in and out. All right. Where is that? All right, looks like it aligns right there. Okay, so I can see the inserters going out are just to the top, 1 tile below the top, and the inserters going in are 1 below the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna have requester chests up here. They're gonna be requesting fuel cells, and then we're gonna have active providers right there. That's where the spent fuel is gonna go. And then we're obviously going to be using bots to pick all this up. Okay. And those are complaining that they're not on a network, so we need to get roboports up here as well. Let me look at that blueprint book again. Let's see how far down we need to put the... I'm having trouble getting this to line up for some reason. Oh, it's because this has a rail in it. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, so the roboport needs to go down here. So we'll put it right there in the middle. That way we'll leave enough room for for the other reactors to go in. Okay. So now this is in at least 1 logistics network, and we'll basically need to provide a path for the robots to get from the uranium processing area all the way up there. Okay, so we'll just leave a string of roboports all the way down, and then we'll bring a few logistics bots over to help move the material. And it looks like I'm probably going to have to go back for more roboports. Or maybe I won't. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we can perhaps make this work. Yeah, I'll just go back for more. We don't need to be stingy with the roboports. I'm going to have to go back anyway so that we can get the stuff we need for the Kovorix enrichment process. Okay. So that's all set. Yeah, we have 69 units of uranium that we can start making fuel with. We do need another centrifuge. For that, we're going to need concrete, steel, and red circuits. So let's go back to the base, and we'll get what we need to set up the centrifuge. We'll start doing the Kovorix enrichment and making fuel cells that we can take up there. And then we'll just store up the used fuel cells until nuclear fuel reprocessing is complete. And then I think the next research will be braking force. That'll help make the trains a little bit faster. Basically, they can wait longer before they have to decelerate. Okay, and I no longer need landfill. So what I'm going to do is, let me just make a couple active providers. And I'll turn those around. We'll just dump that out into these active provider chests and put those back in storage. Okay, so we need steel and red circuits, I believe. Oh, and concrete. Alright, so let's get 200 concrete. We can grab steel here. That should be enough. And then we need some red circuits. Which I'll just grab off of the bus here. And we need gears as well. Yeah, turn that off. I'll just grab gears off of the belt. There. Okay, so 2 centrifuges on the way. I might need some combinators. We'll see once we get this set up. Now, a lot of people that get nuclear going like to set up a circuit to control the insertion of fuel into the reactors. And the idea is that you can use storage tanks to hold on to the extra steam that the reactors create, or that the heat exchangers create, more specifically. Oh, you know what? I need to go back. I forgot the bots. Actually, let's stop this. I need some logistics bots. I'll just stop the train here and go grab some. But I'm thinking that with a base this size, you know, we're already running at 100 megawatts, so we shouldn't have a whole lot of downtime to begin with. So I think that we can run this without any kind of control on the use of the fuel. I think we just keep pumping it in as long as we need it. I'm going to grab some more active providers because I'm out of those. And I think 1 stack of bots should be more than enough for what we need to do down there. Yeah, so I'm planning to set this up just to continually insert fuel. But if you guys would like to see a logic circuit get applied, then I can do that. I did demonstrate one in my nuclear tutorial about, I don't know, about a month ago. And I thought it was a more simple and better circuit than what I had used previously, but I later discovered that the simple version of the circuit had some issues. didn't work properly. So I think we would have to use the control circuit that I normally use, which is a bit more complicated, but it does work. And working is often better than being simple. Okay. Yeah, so let's put the other RoboPort right over here. I think that'll be a good place for it. And I'll go ahead and load the bots in there. Okay. So now we need to set up the Kovorix enrichment process. So I think I'll do that over here. Of course, if I do that, we're going to need another RoboPort. Maybe I'll do it down here instead. Well, we're going to need more RoboPorts either way, so let's just extend the network. Okay, so we can do the enrichment over here. All right, so let's get that started. So Kovorix enrichment process is what we want. I am going to give this a couple speed modules to speed it up. All right, let's do braking force like we discussed. All right, so if you take a look at this, the input is 40 pieces of uranium-235, and the output, and 5 uranium-238s, and the output is 41 pieces of 235 and 2 pieces of uranium-238. So basically what you're doing, if you ignore the big numbers of 235 to begin with, is you're taking 3 uranium-238 and you're converting it into 1 uranium-235, and then everything else gets recycled. Okay, so the first thing that we'll need to do is get those materials brought over. So let's use a few filter inserters. Let me see how we're doing here. I don't want these chests to fill up, but I don't think they will anytime soon. All right. I want to get these consolidated. And let's turn these into provider chests. Yeah, you know what? Actually, we can do this with bots. That'll be even better. Okay. And I'm going to add, yeah, sorry about that. We can, I could have just replaced those chests. All right, so we'll do it like this with bots. I'm going to remove this green circuit. To remove circuit wire, all you have to do is run the same wire between the same points, and it'll remove it from the poles. There. Okay, so now we can't hover over a pole to see how much uranium we have, but we can hover over one of these chests, and we can see how much we have. And there's some wood in a chest someplace as well. I don't know where. Okay, so we'll do this using logistics bots. All right, so first we're going to need to request And I think I'm going to want to move this. All right, so when this finishes, I want the uranium to come out, the 235. I think this is where I am going to use filter inserters. All right, so I want this to be the uranium 235, and I want this to be the uranium 238. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to set this up so that I only pull out 40 pieces. I only put 40 pieces of uranium 235 back in, and the 41st piece I want to come out and be available for us to use to make fuel cells. Because as you know, the machines will normally try to put in twice what they need. You know, so for example, here we need 10 uranium ore to do one cycle, and it always tries to load up 20. So if I don't do this, then it's going to try to load up 80 pieces of uranium, and we're going to have to wait until we have at least 80 pieces before we can use any of it. Which hopefully won't be too much longer, but right now we only have 73. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put all of that into a chest. And then we're going to move it from that chest to this chest. Okay, now this is going to be the inserter that puts it back in the machine. I'm going to override the stack size to 1. That way it can only insert 1 at a time. Now this one can insert 2 at a time. When do I get my next stack size bonus? Level 7. Okay, let's use a stack inserter. Stack size of 5. Okay. And then we're going to have another inserter here. Yeah, let's go ahead and use a red belt. All right, and this is going to go into a provider chest. Okay, bear with me here. It's been a while since I've set this up. Okay, and then we're going to use a circuit. We're going to monitor the contents of this box. Okay, and I'm going to tell this thing to only turn on when there is only one piece of uranium-235 in the box. Okay. Now, why do we do that? Now remember, this is going to put 41. This is going to take out 41 pieces of uranium. The stack inserter is going to start placing them in this box, and it's going to put them in 5 at a time, or perhaps even more than that, depending on our stack size on that. I wonder if I can make a filter stack inserter. Yeah, I can. Let's use that instead. Okay, so it's going to take them out 5 at a time. So the first time this gets any, it's going to get 5. This is going to start taking them out 1 at a time. So the only time that this box is ever going to have only one piece of uranium-235 in it is when 40 have already been inserted and there's no more coming into this box. At that point, this one is going to turn on and it's going to take the uranium out and put it into the passive provider chest. Okay, now on this side, this is going to take the, actually, do I need, yeah, I do need to take the uranium-238 out. And we can take that out and put it into a chest. We can load that into another chest. And we'll put a requester here that requests uranium-238, and it'll insert there. Okay, so that way the uranium-238 that comes out will get recycled. And in fact, I can make that a requester chest just so that we can always see how much is in the network. Okay. Now, all that we have to do is get 40 pieces of uranium and put them in here, and everything should work brilliantly. Now, I'm starting with more than 40, so it's not going to be perfect the first time, but once this gets started, then I'll take out the excess. Okay, so now it's started. I'll take the rest of that uranium out, and I'll put it all there in the passive provider. And it looks like we just got another one too. There. Okay, so we'll watch this go, and hopefully when that finishes, it'll put 40 back in, and then the extra one that we produce will come out into the chest. So let's just keep an eye on this for a moment, just to make sure it works properly. Okay, so there's the 41, and when this gets down to one left, that last one should go into this chest, and this should continue running on the next cycle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, there it goes. Okay, and now if we look in here, there's no extra in there. We got exactly 40, and it's going to run the next cycle, and it'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to accumulate the uranium-235 in the chest. Okay, so the next step is to make the fuel cells, which require uranium-238, uranium-231, and iron plates. So we're going to have to figure out a way to get iron plates over here. In the meantime, I do have some with me. So let's just use some belts to keep this simple. Okay, and here we're going to want to use productivity modules. Now this makes 10 fuel cells every 10 seconds. Actually, I wonder if I can make a level 3 machine. Yes, I can. Let's use a level 3 assembler. That way we can get more productivity modules in there and get more of a bonus. So we get 10 fuel cells with every cycle, and with the productivity modules, then we'll continually get bonuses of fuel cells as well. And we're going to put those into a passive provider chest. All right, and then the last thing that we need to do is give this some iron plate. So I'll throw in everything I've got. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had a phone call. Right, so this is almost done, and then as soon as these fuel cells are done, the bots should come and pick those up. And take those. No, they're not going to pick them up. And that's because I didn't put the request for fuel cells in the requester chest. So let's go do that. Okay, and we don't need 50. 10 should be enough. There. Now there should be bots on their way to deliver those, and we can watch this get started. Here they come. Unfortunately, they have to stop to take a break. All right, I'm going to take half of those and put those over here because I want these two to be synchronized as much as possible. Okay, so now they're loaded, but we're not making any power yet because they need to get up to temperature. They need to get up to 500 degrees at least before they can start to make steam. So once the reactors get up to 500 and that heat travels down the heat pipe here, then the heat exchangers will start to boil the water and make steam. The steam will travel down these pipes. They'll start turning the turbines or turbines, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and then we'll start to get some power generated. As the power picks up here, then we should see the steam engines start to slow down. And those will only run when we need additional power that we're not getting from the reactors. Okay. Now, when you start with a cold reactor, you actually use about 1.5 fuel cells just to get up to temperature. And each one takes 200 seconds. So that'll take a few minutes. I'm going to break right here, and we'll come back when they're up to temperature just so that we can make sure that everything's working properly. We'll be right back. Okay, and our reactors are up above 500 now. If you hover over the heat pipe, you can see what temperature they're running at. We can see that this last one here on the end is just getting up to 500 now. All right, so all the heat exchangers should now be making steam. Again, this one is just getting going. It'll get started here in a second. And you can see that the turbines are making steam as well. And if we look at our power network, we can see that we're producing 51 megawatts with our nuclear reactor, and we're still making 50 something with, we're making 50 with steam, and we're making 56 with nuclear. And what I'm expecting to see is that this ought to start to decrease as our steam production ramps up here. So available performance is maximum on all of these. If we look at the blueprint, let's see here. The 2-reactor version, if I can find it here. Should make 160 megawatts. So we should be able to satisfy all of our needs with this. All right, we need to get more ammo up there. But this isn't ramping down too much, and I'm not quite sure why, unless part of the network is disconnected somehow. That's interesting. Water looks good. Got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. The ratios look good. Steam looks good. Performance is low. Maybe we just need more temperature. Yeah, this one's not making... Well, it's certainly hot enough. I think it's just not making steam because there's not demand for it. But I was expecting to see those steam engines wind down more. All right, looks like they're starting to. Maybe it just takes a little while. Okay, so hopefully over time the steam engine power will continue to decrease as this ramps up. It could just be that we need more steam to build up in the system. All right, well, I gotta go take care of that biter problem. We've been here for quite a while already, so I'm gonna end the episode here while I go do that, and I will see you all next time. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.